So I did have a real pipe bonanza the other day after the storm, or during the storm should I say, and hopefully that will carry on a bit today. I've been missing my clay pipes. I was away for a while, and it's lovely to come back and find them again. And I can see a bit of stem poking out here, and I'm wondering if there may be a bowl on the end of it. Of course it's not certain, but you never know. It might be. There's only one way to find out, isn't there? It's pretty wedged in quite sort of securely. Actually, I think there is a bowl on there. I can see the heel just there, look. So that's good news. Let's continue to get a bit of the mud away. There we are, I think we can pull it out now. Yep, oh look at that. That's nice, isn't it? It's a beautiful 1700s pipe. I'll add that to my collection of pipes that I found the other day. Look at that nice pipe-shaped hole that it came out of. Perfect, isn't it? Nice snug little home for a clay pipe for years and years, possibly 250 years. A little pipe hole. Now, rather excitingly, I've just seen something down here which isn't a pipe, and it's just over here. Have a look. Can you see it? It is a coin. Just look at that. Ooh, it's a nice one. Who's that? Is that George? Let's try and get it in focus. Well, it's beautiful. I'm going to have to look at it under my magnifying glass. But isn't that gorgeous? What a treat! Oh, there's an old knife here, look. That's very well worn. I think it's a bone handle. That's nice. This one looks more like sort of late 1600s. Slightly different shape to the bowl from the last one. Now here is the base of an onion bottle. Oh, and right next to it, very fortuitous, is a little coin. Look. Oh, what's that? What is that? I think it's another George. Oh, how lucky was that? I didn't even see the coin. Let's have a look. Well, I'll have a look at that when I get home. That's pretty exciting. Anyway, quickly going back to this onion bottle base. The other day I found a beautiful seal from an onion bottle. And here's a button down here. Now the other day I found some buttons and a couple of them have got makers on them. This one doesn't by the looks of it. But we'll take a look at the one that I found the other day. Now keep your eyes just down below there, because I saw something before the tide started to sweep in with the wake of the boat. See if you can see what I saw. See there, that's what I'm looking at. Out of my shadow. I think it's probably just a bowl, but still, it's fun to try and spot these things. Pipes, rather. There we are, look. Like a little periscope. Let's pull it out. There we are, very short stem. So there's me studying the ground for old artefacts, and I suddenly saw a little blue hand looking at me, or rather pointing at me from underneath this chain here. And I do believe it must be a smurf, and a headless one at that. Now I've also seen down here another round object, which I thought was a coin, but it's not. It looks like some kind of seal. And on it it's got GR. Maybe it's a bag seal or something. Can't quite see what that is. Maybe the same. Ah, how curious. Definitely some kind of lead seal. I think it's GR, it could be CR, I'm not sure. Look, there's a pipe bowl here, and in fact the whole pipe is crusted into the mud in its comfortable little bed, keeping it all safe. Break that mud off. It's like taking it out of a mould. Oh, and this one's got a nice pointy spur there. It probably has a maker's mark on it that we'll be able to look at later. Let's have a look at this as well. See if there's a pipe bowl on the end. Oh, look at that. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. I'm just on my way back to the car. The tide's coming in and I flipped over what I thought was an oyster shell initially. It's just down here. And I can see there that it looks like there's some lettering on it. So as you can imagine, I am, of course, pretty excited. There might be the name of a company or a ship or something on there. Let's go and give it a little wash. Oh, it's got patents on it, so maybe it's not as exciting as I thought, but if it's got a company name, that's a good start. yes, it does. Very exciting. I'm going to be looking this up when I get home. Sorry about the wind noise. Oh, yes. Looks like we might have a maker's mark here. Thank you very much for watching. That video was made a good few weeks ago now. It was just after Storm Denis. We'd recently had Storm Kira, and that was Storm Denis, so we had a really nice low tide. And I had a very exciting time when I was revisiting the video recently this week as I was editing it and looking back and remembering when I found these objects that I've got here in front of me now. And now I'm back in my studio and I'm going to do a roundup. But before I do that, I just wanted to check in on you all and find out how you are, how you're doing with this lockdown. I hope you're keeping well. I hope you're staying safe and keeping occupied, busy and positive. I've been keeping really busy. I've been making videos. I've also been sorting through some of my previous mudlarking finds that I found before I started making videos. So I may try and do a video about some of the things that I found whilst I'm larking in my actual studio. And that should be quite fun, because it's really funny when you find something that you'd totally and utterly forgotten about at the bottom of a drawer. But let's do a roundup from today's outing, and before you say anything, because I'm sure somebody or a few people will have noticed this, I'm pretty certain that I decapitated the Smurf when I took it out from under the chain. I was editing the video and I looked at the footage and I thought, I can't believe it, I've actually pulled that poor Smurf out and his head has come out at the same time. So let's have a quick look back at the footage and see if that's the case. Let me know what you think, but I'm sure I can see a little head dropping off. And so I do have the headless Smurf here, and his head is probably somewhere way down the river by now. But luckily he does have a couple of friends that I found previously in the river. Here they are, and they have their heads, so you could say that 2 heads are better than none. But that's a pretty bad joke, isn't it? So maybe I'll keep my jokes to myself. But anyway, Smurfs in the Thames are a thing, apparently. I've got 3 of them here. So anyway, moving on from those modern artefacts, let's start with something really exciting. And it is this, and it's my first ever 17th century trader's token, which is quite a momentous event for any Thames mudlark, as they will tell you. They're one of these finds that are on everyone's wish list, and this was my first one, and I didn't even realise it was a trader's token at the time, and didn't even see it, to be honest, until I went to pick up that piece of onion bottle. So that was just a really fortuitous thing, and it was Sci-Fine's Simon Bourne who confirmed that it was indeed a trader's token. So first of all, what is a trader's token? Well, I was looking up on the Museum of London site, and I thought that their description is probably the best to read out. So traders' tokens were issued in the 17th century between 1648 and 1673 in response to low denomination being produced by the Crown. In London, traders issued tokens for their businesses and would be accepted by other traders as long as they knew the issuer. Tradesmen would keep a tray below their counter where they would collect tokens from other issuers and then redeem the collected value with the issuer every now and again. And most were for farthings or half a penny or a penny. And usually they had 3 initials on them, that of the issuer, the wife or the son. So my trader's token here was issued by a man called George Rythe. It doesn't actually have his wife's name on this one, but it was a George Rythe at the Angel. Now it doesn't actually say the Angel, there's a picture on it, it's very faded, but there's a sort of a print of an angel with a crown on it. So he was probably the, let's say the owner of a tavern called the Angel. And the Angel was situated in Fuller's Rent, Holborn. And it's his halfpenny. So George Rythe, who was probably the innkeeper, let's say, at the Angel in Fuller's Rent, Holborn, he actually issued this somewhere between 1648 and 1673. And I haven't been able to find out a whole great deal about George Rythe or his pub or tavern, but it's enough to know that he actually issued this and that somebody probably paid him in his pub for a pint using this token. It's really very, very special. So I am absolutely thrilled with that. I do have a cautionary tale about it. This token nearly didn't make it to you because at the end of my mudlarking expedition that day, I thought, right, I'm going to take some photographs of my objects now in situ on the mud. So I put my hand in my pocket and I pulled out this trader's token from this safe little area in my pocket where I'd kept it, put it on my hand and was about to place it on the mud when a gust of wind came and blew it off right onto the edge of the tide, and a wave came along, covered it up, and I was absolutely horrified. I threw myself down onto the knees like a woman possessed and started dragging and dredging the mud towards me, thinking I was going to have to take half of it home so that I could sort through it in the kitchen sink to see if I could find this token. By some miracle, I then noticed it stuck to a bit of mud on one of the clods that I'd managed to rake out and get away from the incoming tide. And so I did recuperate it, but it was a lesson learned. Don't take your finds out to take photographs of them on a windy day, because you can very easily lose them. And I would have been thinking about it for weeks, I think, not really knowing what it was that I lost, because I knew it was something special and I didn't quite know what. So imagine that, I find a trader's token only to then lose it again through my own stupidity. So that's that tale. So there's my trader's token. And also on the subject of trader's token, I just wanted to say a big thank you to Marshall, who sent me 2 trader's tokens, and they are here. and I haven't had a chance to research them yet, and I'm going to put a photograph up, so if anybody fancies having a little research on these tokens, I'd be ever so grateful to know more about them, so don't hesitate to get in touch and let me know. That would be absolutely fabulous. Thank you very much. Right, now what next? Another unexpected find was this coin here, which is a George I shilling from 1723. Again, I just love to imagine who spent this coin. Who was the last person who touched it before me? I just love that thought, and it's slightly sort of bent here, but it's a beautiful coin, and you can just about make out the profile of George I. So that is that. I've got this here, which is a lead seal, I believe. I've been doing some research on it, and there are some excellent websites with hundreds of pictures of lead seals, and I didn't find one like this, but then again I didn't really trawl through for very long. It was quite overwhelming. But I can tell you a little bit about lead seals. They were used in Europe between the 13th and 19th century as a means of identification for regulation and quality control. Now this one is probably a bale seal, used to ID textiles, parcels or bales of trade goods. So that's that, my seal. What else have I got here? I mentioned that I'd found a button with a maker's mark on it. It's here, and the maker's mark is Shingleton of Chelsea. I haven't managed to find out anything about Shingletons of Chelsea, and so again, if anyone does find out anything about them, then please let me know. What else? Oh, here we are. I've got this beautiful tag from a boiler. Who would ever imagine you could get excited about a boiler? They're hardly the most exciting things, but this is very pretty, and I'm going to shine it up and use it on a collage, I think, or an assemblage. Recently I've been getting some of my finds and putting them together on a collage, and these pieces of metal with lettering on, they do look really nice on these collages. I haven't found anything out about the company, but it's just nice as it is, I think. Don't really need to find out too much more about it, I don't think, except that they used to have far nicer little tags that were attached to boilers than they do now. Lastly, I've got this pipe bowl here, which has a nice maker's mark on it just here on the front of the bowl. I couldn't read it very well at first because it's been printed sort of a little bit several times, so it hasn't come out very well, but I finally made out that it's Balm from Mile End. And I did go on to find out that there are quite a few pipe makers with that name who worked in Mile End in the early to mid 1800s, and so it's going to be one of the Balm family pipe makers here who made that. And it also reminded me that I did find a few years ago a pipe, very, very delicate. I mean, I'm amazed it's survived really, but it has a very similar maker's mark here, again with Balm from Mile End. And so you can actually see the stamp on this one a lot better than the one that I found that day. Now I think that's everything that I have gone through. So a lovely selection of finds, and a very exciting find for me. I think my favourite has got to be the Trader's Token. When I next have a visit at the Museum of London, I'll be taking this along to show them, and they'll be registering that, I'm sure, on their database. So I think that's it. So thank you very much for watching. I'll be back again next Sunday with another mudlarking video. I've got lots of footage in my archives, and I'm really looking forward to going back and delving into it and revisiting some previous outings and finding some really good things to show you. So have a good week, everyone. Stay positive and keep well, and keep occupied, and I am looking forward to seeing you again very, very soon. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.
Thank you.